Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our journey to 250,000 subscribers. So let me say this, my friends. This is not the time to step away. This is the time to step in. So don't unsubscribe, subscribe, and share with your friends. Because I want to show you something that yesterday on Political Beatdown with my co-host, Ben Meiselas, the two of us had a truly interesting conversation about messaging. All right? We compared Trump's message to the Democratic Party's message and where the Democrats fell short during the election. We all acknowledge that we fell short. Question is, where? We also speak about Trump's threat, his continued threats of mass deportation, especially now that we know that Stephen Miller is going to be White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy. Something that you may remember in 2016, 2017, the very first bill that was introduced was one that was drafted by Stephen Miller and Steve Bannon that dealt with they called it the immigration ban. It was really a Muslim ban. But their continued threat of deportation and how this messaging about immigrants ultimately led to Trump's success in this election. Play the clip. Ben, what they did is they ignored every single thing that you just showed on that chart. And they leapfrogged it with things like gas, the cost of eggs, milk, bacon. Remember when Trump had that whole table of food outside I think it was Bedminster, his golf course in Bedminster, showing that nobody could afford what's on this table here. And that was the message that they kept hammering home. You see, look, let's just not bullshit one another here. There's no bullshit on Midas Touch Network and definitively not on Political Beatdown. The Democrats, we fucked up. Our messaging has always been shit. And say whatever you want about Donald Trump, many things that you could say about him. One thing he is, hands down, he is the master of media manipulation. What they do is every single one of their 100 different speakers and their different messengers, they all get the identical talking points memo every single morning at 8 a.m. And they turn around and they say, if you are going to speak and you're going to go on television or speak to media, just hit reply back, I'm going on so-and-so where, and use these talking points for today. So now what happens? You have 100 different messengers every single day on the identical point. Whereas in the Democrat group, you have hundreds of messengers, but nobody is on point with anybody else. It's everybody sort of doing their own thing, answering questions. It's why if you listen to some of the responses I'll give you an example. What's his name? He just got offered a position as well. The Congress member from New York.
Lee Zeldin.
Lee Zeldin. They ask Lee Zeldin a question, and the response goes right to oil and drilling and the economy. It's as polar opposite if I turn around and say black versus white or north versus south. He didn't answer the question at all because that wasn't part of the talking points memo. They absolutely hammered everything home, and those comments and the talking points get regurgitated over and over and over and then over again, where ultimately, even if it's a lie, as Stalin used to say, if you repeat the lie enough times, the lie ultimately becomes the truth.
And let me show you, for example, here was a Latino Trump voter on CNN recently. He's wearing the Trump hat. He wears the yellow hair Trump wig. I thought that was the guy's real hair at first. It's the Trump wig that he's wearing. And he says, look, we're not going to get deported. I'm family oriented and they're only going to go after the criminals. They're not coming after me. Here, play this clip.
If they let in hundreds or thousands of people who already have criminal records, if deporting them creates a mass deportation, I'm all for it.
But what if rounded up in all of that are people who work on a farm? They're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Does that worry you?
That wouldn't be fair. Of course, they need to make sure that they don't throw away, they don't kick out, they don't deport people that are family oriented.
The question.
They won't kick out.
Mistake. Again, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but it's important. It's part of the talking points memo that everybody got. Make sure you refer to all the illegal immigrants as criminals, rapists, drug dealers, murderers, and so on. People coming in from insane asylums. This man, who clearly has a diminished IQ based upon his commentary, is merely regurgitating the stupidity that he heard over and over and over again based upon whoever it was and whatever source that he's obtaining his information from. Again, it is all the same talking point. And now you have another person who's out there spewing it. That's the name of the game.
Well, look, but now that they've got his vote, right? They don't have to do the charade anymore. They could go and say what they're going to do, right? And so, so Charlie Kirk, who is in Donald Trump's inner circle, he said the following about Tom Homan, who's now the border czar. He said, Tom Homan announces he will begin workplace immigration raids. If you are illegal, get out of our country now. It will save us time and energy and also spare you the humiliation. The days of gaming America's immigration system with impunity are over. Get out. If you just break down that statement, what they're saying they're going to do, workplace immigration raids, meaning they're going to go to places where migrants are working, construction sites, farms, restaurants like that guy was in, and they're going to say, show us your papers. And then the people are going to say, I don't know. I thought it was family oriented. And then they're going to throw you in cages, and then they're going to take you out of the country. And as even Donald Trump said, he said he was going to send the Haitians to Venezuela. Like he's going to send you to random countries. And that's what's going to happen. And I just want you to think from just a practical standpoint. Workplace immigration raids. Just think about the mere threat of that, the disruption that's going to cause. If people in their workplaces are going, am I going to get raided today? Should I even show up to my work today? I'm not a criminal. By the way, Cohen, you, me, I don't know anybody who I talk to who thinks, you know what, the criminals need to stay here. The terrorists need to stay here. Deport the criminals, terrorists yesterday. Get them out, lock them up. We don't want criminals. We don't want terrorists. We also have to acknowledge, though, that
you bring up such a great point here. It's a phenomenal point. Number one, just because Donald and the talking points tell you that they're rapists, murderers, drug dealers, that they're all, from insane asylums, doesn't make it accurate. All right. A bunch of our brigaders, and many of whom are now, trolls. You don't believe that Donald Trump is going to actually do a mass deportation. Let me be very, very clear. I know him better than everybody. I know him better than any of the, including the people like a Tom Homan, including Kristi Noem. I know him better than them all. And I'm telling you for a fact, that's the first bill that he's putting forth. Why? Because he could then continue to ride that deportation as being responsive and actually doing what he said he was going to do on the campaign trail. It goes even one step further. Do I think it's going to be the 10 million that they were talking about? And so the answer is no. He's immediately going to go for the low-hanging fruit. And who's the low-hanging fruit? They're the migrants that are staying in hotels that are already in the system. We know exactly who they are. We know exactly where they are at all hours. They're basically confined to these hotels until such time as the immigration process works. They will send buses, load them up, drive them or fly them to their country of origin. That way he can declare a victory. Now, you and I and others may turn around and say, but that's not a victory. That's a terrible, terrible thing. I assure you, his supporters, and obviously it's more than 50.1% of this country believe. In fact, it's actually closer to 68% of this country believe that all the migrants should be deported. Imagine that number. It's an enormously high number. He will now hit a home run with that almost 70% of this country. It'll be a home run for him, and that's what they're going to do. Mark my words on it. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.